وَلَا تَطْرُدِ الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ رَبَّهُم. Don't dismiss people due to their social station, to their economic station. Don't dismiss those people that simply because they're poor that they're not important, or that they do not matter, or that they are less worthy of our care or of our attention. And so in this, Ibn Juzay says, نَزَلَتْ فِي ضُعَفَاءِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. This particular ayah was revealed concerning those of the poor and particularly the weak, especially socially, from the believers. And this was the case especially early on in Islam. So this is another part I had kind of mentioned before, and my friend Imam Suhaib and I have talked about this a number of times, and that we're concerned the way, kind of like in a similar way, where Allah Ta'ala is telling the Prophet ﷺ, don't forget about ha'ula'i ad-du'afa. Don't forget about these poor downtrodden Muslims. Like our concern is that in this day and age, we don't see any value in poor people other than a means for us to achieve or attain some hasanat by giving to them. Now, that we give to the poor, that is haqq. That is a right that they have to demand from us. In the case specifically of the Muslim poor, it's the zakat. We have an obligation to give that. And so charity is an obligation upon us and an opportunity, even when it's not mandatory for us to, it is, indeed is an opportunity for us to gain some good deeds, some hasanat. That being said though, the value of a person that happens to be in a certain particular set of circumstances, this is like what I was saying this morning about qadar and the idea of improvisation and appreciation, is that though these Muslims, like in the beginning, Bilal, and Abdullah ibn Mas'ud and Suhaib radiyallahu anhum jami'an, like these poor Muslims, that though they did have poor material circumstances, they did not stop at just being poor. Like, okay, we're poor, well, I guess there isn't anything we can do because we're poor. Instead, they had the devotion, the drive, the inspiration, the improvisation to make the best of their circumstances and to call upon Allah Ta'ala night and day. And in doing so, they're actually mentioned by way of the Qur'an, and Allah attests to their sincerity and their devotion. And so my point is that we should be careful in how we articulate the relationship between the have and the have-nots. The haves have an obligation to give something to the have-nots. That's not in a very general speaking way. That's uncontestable in Islam. If you have, then somebody that has not has a right over you in a general way, right, for you to give something to them. But their value is not merely just to allow me to get some hasanat. They are a fully fledged, fully formed abd of Allah. They are ibad Allah. They are Allah's noble creation that He has given sharaf, that He has given karam, that He has given nobility to, that He's given dignity to. And so by overemphasizing the giving part, it can sometimes even give the false impression to people who are poor that they don't have any value themselves other than being poor, and so all they're going to do is look for a handout, or that or they always have to suffer humiliation, versus there is still another life, even if it is an interior life, in which a person, even if they happen to be materially poor, they can still have a meaningful, rich, dignified existence. And so this passage and some of the commentary that Ibn Juzay here is kind of pointing us to that.